Good morning everybody, it's Jude Lennon here from Little Lamb Tales with Lammy, and our special guest today, I've brought the whole of the Woolly crew to join us this morning. So we've got Flossie, Cadero, Alfie and Lily. They've come to join us today. Right then, it's very nice to see you all again this morning. All this week we have been telling stories from around the world. So today I've got 3 stories from other places. So we're going to have a Viking legend, so that's Norse, so Denmark, Sweden, Norway, and I'm also going to tell a story from Australia and also one from Japan. So we've got a really nice mix of countries there. So before we start our stories, obviously we need to do our song. So if you've not seen me before, it's really easy. If you have seen me before, let's get ready to all join in together. Are we ready, Lammy? Let's go. Hello everyone, how are you? Hello everyone, how are you? Hello everyone, how are you? How are you today? If you're feeling okay, give me a wave. Hi Simon. Hi Sue. If you're feeling very ready for stories, give yourselves a pat on the back. Give yourselves a pat on the back. And if you're ready to see what is in the story bag, give yourself a smile. Okay, fantastic. So as I said, 3 stories from 3 very different places. Let's see what's going to come first. Okay. So I don't know if you can see that properly, but this is a boomerang from Australia. And I'm very lucky. I've been to Australia a few times. It's a wonderful country. And it's got lots and lots of wonderful stories from the Aboriginal community. That's the indigenous population who lived there before anybody else discovered it, really. So this first story is called The Gala and the Lizard. Now, I thought I would show you a picture of a galah and a lizard. So I don't know if I just hold that up a bit better. So here we go. We've got the galah, that's this bird here. So it's got grey and pink wings, and the top of its feathers come up on its head, and this is the lizard on the other side. Okay, so this is the legend of the galah and the lizard. Here we go. So obviously this story takes place a long time ago, so you know how we begin. Let's go. Long, 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 long. All together. Long ago, far away from here in Australia, there was a lizard called Ula. And the lizard was getting a little bit bored of just lying in the sun, doing nothing. I know, he said, I'll play a game with my boomerang. Now, a boomerang is a special weapon made out of wood, and if you throw it properly, it comes back. I'm not going to throw it now, though, because I can't throw, and I don't want to damage anything in my house. But Ula spent the day throwing his boomerang, and it whizzed through the sky and came back to him. And so he threw it again, and it whizzed through the sky, and it came back to him. It was great fun. And then he noticed that a galah with lovely pink and grey wings had come in, had flown in, and was sitting on a post looking at him. So he thought, I think I'll do a bit of showing off here. I'll see how much further I can throw the boomerang. So he threw it. You ready to make it whiz? And it whizzed and came back. Very good, said the galah. Oh, I can do better than that. And so Ula picked up his boomerang again and he threw it. Are you ready? And it went whiz. Uh-oh. He'd thrown it so hard that when it whizzed by, it came over the top of the galah's head and sliced off some of the feathers and the tip of his head. Ow! Squawked the galah. Can you all squawk? Ow! That hurt! Can't you be careful with your boomerang? I'm really, really sorry. I didn't mean to do it. You were showing off. You should be more careful with your boomerang. And the galah flew in and landed on the lizard. I'll teach you a lesson. And he picked up the lizard and he rolled him in the bandier bush, which has got all kinds of little prickles all over it. Ow, 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 said the lizard. Serves you right, says the galah. Maybe you'll take more care next time. By now, the blood from the tip of the galah's head was running down, and he thought, I know, I'll get rid of it. And he wiped it all over the lizard's skin. And then he flew away. And you know, ever since that day, Ula the lizard has been incredibly careful where he throws his boomerang. But he is now a reddy brown colour with lots of prickles all over his skin. And he's stayed that way ever since. And the galah The glass feathers on the top did grow back, but if you look underneath them on the top of their head, they have got a little bald spot that's left over from when Ulas Barum took off their feathers. The end. Give yourselves a clap. Fantastic. I do love learning about stories and legends from other cultures. I think it's so interesting how they all have their own stories to go with animals and things that happen in their countries. So that was from Australia. Right then, Lammy, should we see where we're going next? Oh, don't get too far in the bag, Lammy, we'll lose you. Here we go. Oh, right, okay. Right, so we're going to the Vikings. So the Vikings from Denmark, Sweden and Norway, or they're the countries we would call them now, but they were the Norsemen, because they were from the north of Europe. Here we go. Now, I told you a story a few weeks ago about Thor and how he got his hammer, but this is the story of how Thor loses his hammer. Here we go. Are you ready? We're going a long time ago. Long, 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 long. Altogether, long ago, in the kingdom of Asgard, all the gods and goddesses lived very happily. Chief among them, Thor and his wife, Sif. They were very happy indeed. Thor had his wonderful hammer, and ever since he'd had that hammer, the giants of the north had kept away their frost for half of the year. And this meant that for the other half of the year, the crops could grow and there was enough food for the people and the animals. This made Thor and the rest of the gods and the goddesses very happy indeed. And all the people down on the land looked up to the gods and said, "Thank you for keeping away the ice and the snow for half of the year. It means we can grow our crops." Everybody was happy. Until one morning, Thor woke up, he stretched. Can you stretch? I yawned. And he stretched out his hand. Can you stretch out your hand as far as it would go to reach for his hammer? It was not there. He stretched even further. It was still not there. He stretched and he stretched and he stretched, but still he could not reach his hammer. "Where has my hammer gone?" "I don't know," said Sif. "Did you put it on the side?" "Of course I did. I never let it very far from my side. You know that." "I bet this is Loki and his mischief." And Thor roared at the top of his head. Are you ready to roar? Roar! "Loki, get here now!" Loki arrived and said, "What's the matter? Where is it? Where's my hammer?" Thor, "Look, for once, I know I have a reputation for being a bit mischievous, but honestly, this time it's not me. I haven't taken it. I think the giants have probably taken it. The giants of the frost and the snow." "Well, I want it back," said Thor. "They'll be bringing their ice back for the whole year. We cannot have that." "Leave it to me," said Loki. And so he went to speak to Freya. She was the goddess of all the crops. And he said, "Could I possibly borrow your falcon costume that will allow me to fly?" "What do you want it for?" said Freya. Everybody knew that Loki was a bit of a mischief maker, and they were a bit worried about lending him anything. "Well, the thing is, Thor's hammer's gone missing, and we think the giants have taken it. But if I can disguise myself, I can swoop in and see what I can find out." "Very well," said Freya. "As it's to help Thor, you may borrow the falcon costume." So Loki put it on, and suddenly he could fly, and he flew off to the land of the giants, and he spoke to the giant Thrym. And Thrym said, "How goes it?" "Loki, you know it doesn't go very well. You've taken Thor's hammer. He is most displeased. We want it back." "I'm sure you do, but you're not having it back." "But you've got to give it back. We can't have the people on Earth starving because you come in with your land of ice and snow all year." Let me see if there's something we can come to an arrangement with," said Thrym. "If you tell your lovely goddess Freya that if she will marry me, I will return Thor's hammer to him straight away at the wedding banquet." "All right," said Loki. "I'm not sure she'll go for it, but I'll try my best." And he flew back. Have you got your wings ready? He flew back. Everyone gathered in Odin's palace to hear what Loki had discovered. "Freya, you're not going to like this. Basically, the giant Thrym says that if you marry him, we'll have Thor's hammer back. Marry a giant? I don't think so, said Freya. Absolutely not. Would you not even consider it just to save the people? No, said Freya. Absolutely no way. Said Loki. I've been thinking. Thor, would you come with me? You can pretend to be Freya. We'll dress you up in women's clothes and you can pretend to be Freya. And we'll say that you're going to marry the giant. And then you can steal the hammer back at the banquet. All right, says Thor, we'll give it a try. And so he dressed himself up in a beautiful dress and he had a veil to cover his face and his hair. And so he set off with Loki. Off they went. And when they arrived, Thrym said, "Ah, Freya, I'm so glad you are going to marry me. We want the hammer, though," said Loki. Yes, you will. We will first have the banquet and then I will bring in the hammer." So everybody in the banquet sat down. They were all very keen to see the goddess Freya they'd heard so much about. The banquet was full of the most wonderful food. Thor had an appetite and he delved in. All of the guests in the banquet looked. They've never seen a bride eat so much. "Oh, she's been starving herself for days," said Loki. "She was so excited. She's very hungry." "Oh," said Thrym, "wonderful." And he tried to lift up the veil from her face. Thor glared and his eyes looked very fierce. "Oh, goodness me," said Thrym. "Oh, don't worry about that," said Loki. "She always glares when she's happy." "Ah, great," said Thrym. They carried on eating, and at the end of the banquet, he said, "Bring the hammer. We will let the wedding ceremony begin." And so the wedding ceremony started, and as soon as Thor could stretch out his hand, he reached and his hammer came back into his hand, and he threw off the veil and he said, "Ha! Let this be a lesson to you. I will not marry you. This is my hammer. It stays with me. And you will keep your ice and your snow and your frosts away from my kingdom for half of the year as we agreed." And with that, he whirled his hammer around his head and he and Loki disappeared off back to Asgard. And the giants of the frost and the ice and the snow kept their word and only sent the frost and the ice and the snow in the winter for half of the year. The end. Give yourself a clap. Fantastic. Well done, everybody. Right then, so far we've been to Australia, we've had a Norse tale from Scandinavia, and now let's see where we're going this time. Oh, are you ready, everybody? It's a little mouse. This story is from Japan. Here we go. Now, over the years, I've researched lots of stories from lots of countries. And one thing I've found out is actually a lot of stories in Japan feature mice. I think they're obviously quite important in their culture. So this is called The Mouse Wedding. And it goes like this. You know how it begins. You ready? Long, 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 long. All together now. Long ago, far away from here, there was a family of mice. Mr. and Mrs. Mouse were very wealthy and very happy. They had a lovely daughter. "Ah, we're so lucky with our daughter, but we want her to marry the greatest person in the world. Who could that be?" They both had to think. Let's think. "I know," said Mrs. Mouse. "The greatest thing must be the sun because it lights up the whole world." "Good idea. Let's go and speak to the sun." So Mr. and Mrs. Mouse went to speak to the sun. They called up to the sun. "Hello, sun. Would you like to marry our daughter? We hear that you are the greatest thing in the world." The sun beamed down and said, "Well, that is very kind of you to ask, but I am not the greatest thing. There is something greater than me, something that covers me even when I try to light up the whole of the world. Mr. Cloud. You should speak to him." "Mr. Cloud," said the mice. "Right, we'll go and speak to him." So Mr. and Mrs. Mouse scurried off and they saw the cloud and they called up to the cloud. "Hello, Cloud, we hear that you are the greatest thing in the world. Would you like to marry our lovely daughter?" The cloud was bumbling past and said, "Oh, mice, that's very kind of you to offer, but I am not the greatest thing in the world because no matter how much I try to cover the sun, the wind comes along and blows me away. So the wind must be the greatest thing in the world." Why didn't you ask Mr. Wind? Okay, said the mice, we will. And they scurried off. Let's go. They scurried and scurried and scurried. And they saw the wind. Can you make the wind? And they felt the wind. And they called up to the wind, Mr. Wind, we hear that you are the greatest thing of all in the world. Would you marry our daughter? And the wind called down, oh, that is kind of you to ask, but I am not the greatest thing in the world, because no matter how hard I try, Mr. Wall stands tall and strong. He must be the greatest thing in the world. Oh, right, said the mice, maybe we should go and speak to Mr. Wall. So they scurried off. Let's go. They scurried and scurried and scurried. And they found Mr. Wall. He was tall and straight and proud and looked very strong indeed. Excuse me, Mr. Wall, we have heard that you are the greatest thing in the world. Would you like to marry our daughter? Well, then it's very kind of you to ask, said Mr. Wall, but I cannot be the greatest thing in the world, because you mice nibble holes in me and it makes me weak and sometimes bits of me fall down. So I think that actually the greatest thing in the world are mice. Oh, said Mr. and Mrs. Mouse, we hadn't thought of it like that before. Well, maybe you should think about that now. If you are looking for a husband for your lovely daughter, maybe you should ask a mouse. Right, they said, we will, and they scurried home. But when they got home, they found their daughter sitting with Choochie Mouse from next door. And she said, I've decided, Mum and Dad, I would like to marry Choochie Mouse. He's very happy and we're very happy together. Yes, that's wonderful, said Mr. and Mrs. Mouse. We know that Choochie Mouse is the greatest thing in the world and we know that you will be very happy. And so the daughter and Choochie Mouse were married, and guess what, everybody? They lived happily ever after. The end. Oh, well done, everybody. Give yourselves a clap. Fantastic. Well, we've had a lovely time going around the world for this whole of this week. We've visited some wonderful countries. I think we've been to Italy and we've been to Germany and Ireland and things like that. So I'm going to finish now very quickly with a quick story that I told the other day for the Wrexham Carnival of Words. And it's kind of a reworking of the gingerbread man, but instead it uses a Welsh cake. Now, for those of you who don't know, a Welsh cake is kind of like a flat scone, but you cook it on a griddle on top of the cooker. You don't put it in the oven. Okay, so here we go. It goes like this. The enormous Welsh cake. You ready? You know the first bit. Long, 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 long. All together now. Long ago, far away from here, in Wales, there was an old man and an old woman. And every day about now, they would sit down and have a cup of tea and a biscuit. One day, the old man said, I am fed up with biscuits. I'm going to make Welsh cakes. So he pushed up his sleeves. Can you push up your sleeves? He washed his hands. Let's wash our hands. Very important. And then he got his bowl. Have you got your bowl? He poured in the ingredients. And then he got a spoon. Have you got your spoon, everyone? And he mixed it and mixed it and mixed it. And then he put his hands into the mixture. This is the best bit. It's messy. He squashed it and squeezed it and kneaded it and rolled it into a ball and put it onto the kitchen table. Have you got your rolling pin? He got his rolling pin. He rolled it this way. He rolled it that way. He rolled it this way. He rolled it that way. And he cut out of the mixture a big Welsh cake. And he popped it onto the griddle pan to cook it. And as he was waiting for it to cook, the old lady rubbed her tummy. That Welsh cake smells delicious. I can't wait to eat it. Hang on a minute. Thought the Welsh cake. I don't want to be eaten by an old man and an old woman. I'll have to escape. So, when the old man flipped the Welsh cake ready to griddle the other side, it jumped up and it rolled out the door. Let's go. It rolled and it rolled and it rolled. It rolled past a sheep. The sheep said, "Where are you going in such a hurry? I wouldn't let an old man eat me or an old lady, and I won't let you eat me either." You ready to roll? And it rolled, and it rolled, and it rolled. This time it ran past a cow. "Hello," said the cow, "where are you going in such a hurry? I wouldn't let an old man eat me or an old lady, and the sheep, and I won't let you eat me either." And the Welsh cake rolled away as quickly as it could. Let's go. It rolled, and it rolled, and it rolled. This time it rolled past a pig. Let's hear you oink like a pig. Oink, 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 oink. "Where are you going in such a hurry?" said the pig. "Well," said the Welsh cake, "I wouldn't let an old man eat me, or an old lady, or the sheep, or the cow, and I won't let you eat me either." Are we ready? It rolled, and it rolled, and it rolled. Uh-oh. The Welsh cake rolled to the edge of a river. Let's see that river. "I can't go in there," said the Welsh cake. "If I go in there, I'll get soggy and I'll sink." Just then in swooped a Welsh dragon. "Hello," said the Welsh dragon. "Where are you going in such a hurry?" "Well," said the Welsh cake, "I wouldn't let an old man eat me, or an old lady, or the sheep, or the cow, or the pig, and I won't let you eat me either. Roll!" Oh, there was nowhere to roll. "I don't want to eat you," said the dragon. "I want to help you. Hop on my back and I will fly you across the river." So the Welsh cake hopped onto the dragon's back just above his wings, and the dragon set off. Let's see those wings. I'm slipping, I'm going to fall," said the Welsh cake. "Don't worry. Sit up by my neck, you'll be fine." So the Welsh cake sat up by the dragon's neck. Let's go. And the dragon flew and flew and flew. "I'm still going to fall." I tell you what, sit on top of my head, keep nice and flat, you'll be fine," said the dragon. So the Welsh cake sat on top of the dragon's head. Are you ready? And flew and flew and flew. "Oh, it's no good," said the Welsh cake. "I'm really going to fall." "Why don't you balance on the top of my nose? Just here, it's nice and flat. You won't fall off," said the dragon. So the Welsh cake balanced on the dragon's nose. Are you ready to fly? The dragon flew and flew and flew and flew, and as soon as the dragon had crossed the river, he let the Welsh cake down off his nose and then toasted it and ate it in one tasty, yummy, delicious mouthful. And when the old man and the old lady and the sheep and the cow and the pig all arrived, there was no Welsh cake left. And the old man and the old lady had to go back to their cottage and have a cup of tea with, you guessed it, a boring old biscuit. The end. Give yourselves a clap. Fantastic. Thank you so much for watching this morning. I hope you have enjoyed it. We're back again on Monday next week. We'll have more stories coming out of the story bag. I haven't quite decided what theme we're going to do next week yet, so we'll see what that brings us. This afternoon I'm over on the Wrexham Carnival of Words page at 2 o'clock doing some book readings and taking some questions and answers about being a writer. So if you want to pop in for that, you'd be very welcome. That's on the Wrexham Carnival of Words Facebook page. As for me and from Lammy, we'll do our goodbye song. Are you ready then? Here we go. Goodbye everyone, nice to see you. Goodbye everyone, nice to see you. Goodbye everyone, nice to see you. Nice to see you today. Give yourselves a round of applause. Give yourselves a pat on the back. Give yourselves a fan-dabby-dozy. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks Faye and Catherine for giving me a wave as well. I didn't get a chance to mention before. Thank you. Keep safe and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.